listen to the rest. Now it's time to listen to the best. Real Talk Sports, where these pro sport analysts do more than get in front of the throws. They never miss a catch or a call. No matter the sport, they always have the right call. Not just entertaining, it's the true sports fans forecasting guide. Feel free when you cash in or let it ride. With Real Talk Sports by your side, that is. Just to keep the ball bouncing even more. It's two-way talk with live question and review. So be sure to listen in on the new WIGO.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your host, Minister Jonathan Simmons, and we are broadcasting here to you with the Young Guns. I got Mr. Reggie Brown in the building.
Excited to talk some sports tonight.
That's right. I got Mr. Ashton Reynolds in the building.
So glad to be here like always.
And we thank the Lord for each and every one of you, and I thank the Lord for being out here so we can talk a little sports here. Big sports weekend, lots of stuff going on. Of course, the biggest thing was the main event, the big game, a.k.a. Super Bowl 50, not 49, not 48, but Super Bowl 50, half a century. Unbelievable that I was alive when the first Super Bowl launched off. It actually was on my birthday, January the 15th.
Oh, man.
I was a little guy then. That's when I first started kind of being aware of football and so forth, so it's very interesting. And also what's pretty cool thing is that I actually watched the Super Bowl from the NFL retired players. They have a huge event that they do each year. I actually went out to Alpharetta to a place called the Main Event and watched it there. So that was really something unbelievable. And, of course, other news you had from the NFL, you got roster moves being made. We're going to talk about the fact that there's some retiring. Two big names retiring in the NFL, and possibly a third. Of course, everybody's speculating, will Peyton Manning return for another season? His father, Archie, said, well, bottom line is he's not coming back with Denver, so that was something right there. Number two, of course, a guy right here from our backyard, Georgia Tech's own Calvin Johnson, Megatron.
Man, Calvin Johnson retiring. When I first heard that news, I was like, wow. He's had a great career if he does decide to retire. He's broken a great bit of records that were held for a long time by Jerry Rice, and for him to do it in 8 years, that's pretty incredible. That shows you the amount of work that he's put in the collegiate ranks as well as in the NFL. And I can understand that he's getting tired of losing in Detroit. I know they always start off 6-7 game winning streaks and then blow their chances within the playoffs. That could play a key factor into it, which is understandable, which kind of resembles Barry Sanders' exit after he didn't even play 10 years as well. But if he does decide to retire, he had an amazing career. He's perhaps the best receiver in recent times. Calvin Johnson, he's definitely one of the greats.
I don't think Calvin Johnson really wants to retire. It's just a matter of fact that he's tired of losing, like you said earlier. So he'll probably go to a team. Hey, you never know. He could end up in Carolina. That's one thing.
I heard he was texting Bill Belichick, so, you know.
You never know. I think he just wants to play at least. He has a good 3-4 seasons left in him to play on a good team, actually get some playoff and championship wins under his belt. He could try. So, and Peyton Manning wins Super Bowl 50, 2-time MVP. He's had a great career all around. I think it's time for him to retire. He's 39. We saw this season he wasn't at his best career form like last year. So, in the year off right.
Well, bottom line is that, like you said, Peyton should be going. The guy's been playing in the league for a long time. He's taken a lot of hits. So I'd like to see him kind of, ride off into the sunset, a.k.a. the way his boss, John Elway, did. As far as Megatron's concerned, the guy is just, when you look at his numbers, they're astounding. First of all, let's go back and kind of look at the physical stats in this man.
Right.
The reason why they call him Megatron is this guy's 6'6". He weighs just under 240 pounds, and he's been clocked in a 40-yard dash speed of 4.35.
Yeah, that's amazing. Calvin Johnson, this man is literally a man amongst boys.
Oh, no doubt.
That man there, he's great, but also that frame has taken a lot of beating because he's putting Detroit Lions on his back countless times. I've seen numerous games where Matthew Stafford could only just depend on him. The play would just go wrong, and he would just tell Megatron to go deep. And Calvin comes down with it. He's getting hit 3, 4, 5 times, and those hits accumulating over a period of 9 years within the league. And people know that he's going to get the ball, and he still makes the play, not shying away from any of those hits. I can understand that from that perspective he wants to retire, because that wear and tear plus the age, he's getting up there in age as well, that will play a key factor into him considering retiring. But I agree with you, Reggie. I do believe he has some more good football left into him. So hopefully he gets on some of these winning teams so he can continue to contribute and do what he does for the longest.
No doubt. 30 years old now, 9 seasons, believe it or not, in the NFL, and obviously all of them with the Detroit Lions. And like I said, the guy's got huge numbers. He's got over 11,000 yards receiving, 83 touchdown receptions, 731 yards, 730 yards, 731 receptions. Blah, if I can speak English. So this guy's really put up some monster stats. Now, of course, a lot of people were bantering around. Would he deserve to go to the Hall of Fame if he stopped right now based on his stats?
You know, I talked to my dad about that. My dad always bring up Sterling Sharp, a guy who played 6-7 years of remarkable football but still hasn't gotten in there. So, but in my opinion, what Calvin Johnson has done by breaking Jerry Rice records that have stood for a good bit of time, Calvin Johnson will be a Hall of Famer.
No doubt Calvin Johnson's going to be a Hall of Famer, but right now, in the next couple of years after his 5 years having to wait, we'll see. Yes, he did break Jerry Rice's record, but at the same time, I don't think he's ready to be putting out. Well, not that he's ready, but the people are not ready to put him into the Hall of Fame just yet.
Right.
Say he can go for Marshawn Lynch. If he really wants to retire at 29 right now, can he go to the Hall of Fame? I don't think he'll go to the Hall of Fame, but if he comes back, plays for a different team,
right,
maybe Atlanta have a Devontae Freeman, Marshawn Lynch 2-hit combo. Hey, you never know, but
right.
Marshawn Lynch can do a lot of things.
Well, listen, if you want to call in and join the conversation, phone number is 404-361-1571. You're listening to the Real Talk Sports Show. We broadcast to you on Atlanta's Incredible Radio, WIGO, AM 1570. You also can find us online in a couple of spots. You can go to WIGOAM.com. You also can go to 1100entertainmentradio.com. And last but not least, you can check us out on realtalksports.net. Just click on the link, listen live, and you'll be able to hear us. Also, on any mobile device, use the free TuneIn application. Put in WIGO 1570, or better yet, put in Real Talk Sports, and voila, you'll find us broadcasting to you right here and right now. Well, I mean, Megatron, basically, if you look, every guy has about that 3 or 4 year window where they put up these monster stats, and that's kind of what it is for Megatron. If you look from 2011 to 2013, this is what his total yards were in receiving. In 2011, he has 1,681 yards, 17.5 yards of reception, but 105 yards receiving average per game for him in that year. And he had 16 touchdown catches. The next year, he was held to 5 touchdown catches, but this is when he put up the big numbers, 122 receptions for 1,964 yards in receiving. That's insanity, 123 yards per game average. So that means every game, Megatron basically going to give you 8 or 9 receptions for 122 yards. And last but not least, 2013, 84 receptions, 1,482 yards, 106 yards per game in receiving, and another 12 touchdowns. So, I mean, the numbers don't lie. And like you mentioned, they have put guys in the Hall of Fame that have played a shortened career because they were dominant during the time they played. And certainly, at least during that 5-year space between 2010 and 2014, Calvin Johnson was probably, without a doubt, the best receiver in the league.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, during that time period, nobody was close to his production. And like I said, that comes at a price, which is with that wear and tear on that body. And I know he's 30. He still has some good years left in him, but that was just during that time period. I mean, nobody was ahead of him. This was during the conversations where the Falcons were entering into that elite conversation where they was going, 13-3, and
yes, sir.
They was questioning whether Julio Jones was the top receiver. But that goes to show you that the work that he put in the offseason, that he managed to dominate all competitors. Calvin Johnson is definitely a Hall of Famer.
All right, there it is right there. Like I said, Marshawn Lynch tweeting out that he pretty much is done. And what they basically showed was this, is that he has got a picture, and this is the picture right here. You go on Twitter. His Twitter handle is @MoneyLynch. And 20 hours ago, there's the picture that has got the internet and online and social media buzzing. It's a picture of his green cleats strung up over the wire, some power lines, basically letting them know, hey, I'm hanging them up So that's the cryptic message that's out there. Seattle has not denied it, so it looks like it could be over for Marshawn Lynch. But, of course, already there's rumblings that the Patriots might be interested. Well, speaking of player moves, here in Atlanta, we just got an announcement, breaking news on the way in. 2 Atlanta players, 2 stalwarts are out of there. And we thank for those of you who have joined us in on Periscope. William Moore, former All-Pro safety. Willie Moe, the big hitter, is gone. Cut. Also cut Justin Durant, a guy who was a big-time help at the linebacker position. Both guys are gone, allegedly because they couldn't stay on the field. But Willie Moe, a guy who's really been an anchor in that defensive backfield, has been released.
I think it's crazy that Atlanta just thinks they can release their players, and I guess they're putting a lot of trust in this next upcoming draft. They have to get some real players that can hold Atlanta on their back, and really, if Matt Ryan's having a bad day on offense, because see times like this year, Peyton Manning wasn't at his best on offense,
right,
but his defense kept the game alive, and like in the Super Bowl, defense really won the game. So with Atlanta getting rid of a lot of their defensive players, I don't think that's a smart move right now.
Right.
Well, the Spiritual Soldier's hitting up on Periscope, and she doesn't seem to be too happy about that. Got a couple other people have joined us on Periscope. Remember, folks, if you want to call in, the phone line actually is open at 404-361-1571. We actually are now able to pipe your comments in, so you would actually be not only a part of the radio show, but part of the Periscope broadcast as well. So give us a call, 404-361. If you got comments, if you just want to give a shout-out, just want to say, hey, the only of us here, certainly we would appreciate it right here on the Real Talk Sports Show. See, here's what I have a problem with the Falcons, and this is what always has been my problem with them. Everybody talks about Dimitroff, and you know, is he a good judge of talent? The whole thing for me is that it's not so much they don't judge the talent, is that they don't keep the talent when it comes through. Because remember now, this is the same thing said about Sean Witherspoon a couple of years ago. Oh, he can't stay on the field. Now there's talk about trying to get him back from the Cardinals. It's just craziness. I don't understand it.
See, the thing about it is when the Atlanta Falcons team, they always let go of the players that produce the most on defense. And every time those players leave and go to another team, they 9 times out of 10 are the reason why they got to where the other team is getting. Letting go William Moore was perhaps one of the worst moves that they could have made, because just where the production William Moore brings, the impact that he has had, he was one of the key reasons why the Falcons went on that winning streak. He was the reason why. He was the one that was instilling that toughness by the way that he was hitting. William Moore is one of the hardest hitting safeties in the game. And when you have the Seahawks coach, one of the Seahawks coaches coming into the organization, and that's what the Seahawks defense was built upon, was toughness, and you let go of the toughest player, one of the toughest players on your team, then I don't know which direction you're trying to go, because that's how you win it, as the Broncos have proven last night. Defense do win championships.
There's no question. And like you said, man, this started to cut across you, but it's just the idea of them getting rid of someone, as you mentioned, who's a contributor. That's the thing that puzzles me.
Right. I mean, they've done it with Brent Grimes. They've done it with Asante Samuel. Everybody that contributes, they're gone. And it's crazy. Going to Denver, although we're getting off topic, going to Denver, everybody on that team has either been a draft pick, or they've been there for more than 4 years. DeMarcus Ware, Von Miller was their draft pick. Aqib Talib, he's been there for 3 years. T.J. Ward, he's been there for about 4 or 5 years. They've grown together. They know each other what they're capable of doing. And they grew that bond together. The Seahawks, they were built through the draft, and they came in and they produced at an early age and kept producing and grew together. The Falcons, they grow together. They get a little steam. It gets a little rocky. They get rid of the best talent that they should keep and build around. So I don't know what's going on with that one. I don't like that move.
Yeah, I think the Falcons right now, they have a bad habit of getting rid of their best players at the times where they need their best players. These guys are putting up great numbers throughout the season, but they have this belief that, we're just going to pick up a new guy in the draft, or pick up some guy who's already at the end of his career, thinking that he has this burst of energy. and it just doesn't work out. So,
well, you know what that sound is, ladies and gentlemen? That is the sound of his break time here. We got to go ahead and take a quick break, but you're listening to the Real Talk Sports Show with you broadcast right here on Atlanta's Incredible Radio, and hopefully I'll be able to get the marbles out of my mouth before the broadcast is over. Keep it locked. It's official. The hottest new restaurant and sports grill on the South Side is open for business. Check out the Burger Theory Restaurant, 638 Highway 138, Stockbridge, Georgia, inside the Holiday Inn and Suites. All new, it's got great appetizers, delicious desserts, and mouth-watering signature burgers made for your order. Grab some takeout on the way home or enjoy the beautiful lounge and dining area lined with flat-screen TVs. It's the Burger Theory Restaurant, 638 Highway 138, inside the Holiday Inn, Stockbridge, Georgia.
Guess who's coming to WIGO AM 1570 on Tuesdays? It's Ask Dr. RJ. Is your child acting out in school? Ask Dr. RJ. Are you feeling too much stress on your job? Ask Dr. RJ. It's okay to talk to your friends or even your mom, but you still need that clinical piece. So ask Dr. RJ. Tuesdays at 8 p.m. on WIGO AM 1570.
Attention promoters, event organizers, and committees. If you're looking for a place to have your next big event, you must check out the C Room Multiplex. The C Room Multiplex cordially invites you to book your next artist or to host your next big event at the C Room, specializing in the following areas: CD release parties, showcases, fashion shows, movie premieres, birthday celebrations, wedding receptions, banquets, pastors' anniversaries, special events, and more. At the C Room Multiplex, we also offer catering and decorating packages. For more information, call us 678-823-5124. That's 678-823-5124. Or visit us on the web at croomatlanta.com. That's c-roomatlanta.com. The C Room is Atlanta's premier Christian entertainment venue. The C Room, 4013A Jonesboro Road, Forest Park, Georgia. Mention this ad for special pricing.
And we are back. You're listening to the Real Talk Sports Show as we broadcast to you on Atlanta's Incredible Radio, WIGO 1570. You also can hear us online at WIGOAM.com, and you also can listen to us on 1100entertainmentradio.com as well. Remember, on any mobile device, use the free TuneIn Radio application, put in WIGO 1570, or better yet, just put in Real Talk Sports, and you will find us broadcasting to you right now. We want to give a shout-out to our Periscoper, Spiritual Soldier, Joel Sentmanot, and some of the other folks who have joined in to say hello. We appreciate you, appreciate the shout-outs here. And again, those of you who are feeling kind of bold here, you can go ahead and give us a call at 404-361-1571, talking football, Falcons. You know, here's the other thing, too. How many guys do they have in that front office now? I mean, the Falcons, every time I turn around, they're adding somebody else into the front office.
I don't know, but whoever they're getting to make roster decisions, get them out of there quickly.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy. I mean, they brought in, I guess they now have a total of five former GMs are now part of that Falcon front office, and it's really it's almost kind of bizarre, really.
And they're getting all these guys thinking that these people they bring in is going to help them get a better draft. They're going to get the best players out the draft, these sleeper picks. You got to work what you got right now. Yes, you will pick up some good rookies, but they're not just going to be the next Cam Newton, come out right out the gate and have this phenomenal season. Right. That's not what they need right now. They need some good players that can overall help out the defense right now. Letting go William Moore, I mean, that was just a dumb decision right now, so they have to work harder.
Yeah, and they've now added another guy from that chief staff that Pioli was on. So now they've added a new guy, Joel Collier, has now been picked up, and he is now going to be working in player personnel. So they have, I think, a total of 6 guys that have either been assistant or former GMs, Kansas City, Chicago, and in my mind, I mean, how many guys you need to make these draft decisions? Now they're talking about, well, these guys are scouts and this and that, but I mean, to me, this is the kind of thing that makes people look at Atlanta and think, I mean, these guys here are not an elite team anymore.
Right. They really aren't an elite team anymore because they keep releasing all of the talent that made them elite. Now, the thing about it is when they're having all of these multiple GMs on the staff, who is going to be that one guy that they're going to be able to go to? Because having all of those GMs on the staff, that's actually breaking the team up because you got so many different perspectives that people try to pick their players based upon. So many people feel like one person can do this, or another GM will come in there and say, trade this one, trade our star player, and we can perhaps get 2 potential picks that can come in there and do multiple things, or at least try to live up to the same expectations that one player needed. And those players that they try to bring in, they either be bust or they don't live up to it. So it's kind of breaking up the nucleus within the Falcons, and I believe that all of those GMs, that's just bad for the Falcons.
Yeah, let's look at this roster now. Besides Dimitroff, they now have Scott Pioli, who was a GM over at Kansas City. Actually, he was a GM at Kansas City. Now this gentleman here, Mr. Joe Collier, he was Scott Pioli's assistant. They hired former Bears GM Phil Emery and Weston Webster as national scouts, whatever that means. So now you have a total of about 5 or 6 guys that all have general manager or assistant general manager experience. And here's my question. If Thomas Dimitroff is the GM, this guy Joel Collier, his title is Director of Pro Personnel. I mean, aren't those jobs kind of similar?
Pretty much.
And they're just filling in, getting all these people thinking that they're doing something when they're really not. It's just going to be, like Ashton said, a bunch of people colliding on who they think is going to be the best fit for Atlanta. End up trading somebody that they actually really need, or getting rid of like people like William Moore. And it's just going to be a bunch of chaos for right now.
Well, I tell you that this is the difference between, like you said, teams that are good quality teams and teams that are not. Now I tell you, I had an opportunity to meet a guy who is a legend, and hopefully I'll be able to get a little bit of that audio for you now. As I mentioned, this is the 50th year for the Super Bowl. I actually got a chance to meet a guy who played in the very first Super Bowl.
Wow.
Okay. He is now the president of the NFL Alumni Association. I'm going to try to go to my computer here and see if we can get some of those remarks. His name is Solomon Brannon, and not only was he on that first Super Bowl team, played with the Kansas City Chiefs, but he was the roommate of a guy that was, a legend before you guys were born in the movies, Fred the Hammer Williamson. You guys have to look that up. Fred played in a lot of action movies. Okay, the young gun looks at me, I know who that is. Let's see if we can go to that and see if we can get a little bit of that interview here with Solomon Brannon. Here, it's going to take a minute for. Here we go.
Main man here, Minister Jonathan Simmons, and I'm on the scene here at the NFL Alumni, NFLPA, Pro Players Annual Super Bowl Party. And I have a gentleman here, well, it's historic. Solomon Brannon, who's president of NFL Alumni Georgia, played in the very first Super Bowl. Sal, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you for having me. This is such a great day. I never thought that people would come out and do the things they did, but I'm real humble because of what happened today.
It's really exciting, for me, being a longtime sports fan, to meet a guy that played in the very first Super Bowl, and ironically, that was actually played on my 8th birthday.
Really? Well, I tell people when that first Super Bowl was a lot of fun for us. We was just representing the American Football League, and it was called AFC and NFC Championship. But now it's a big business, and it's called a Super Bowl. It's the biggest thing in sports in the world today. And so for it to have grown the way it have, I tell you, nobody could have predicted that. But now it's a business. It's big money.
Big money. Now, it's interesting. If I heard correctly, you roomed with a guy that later went on to do some stuff in the movies, Fred the Hammer Williamson. Is that right?
Yeah, that was my roommate in Kansas City, and we used to call him the Hammer because, he was one of them showboat guys, but always dressed sharp, had a great sense of humor, was a good football player, and thought he knew more than anybody else on the team. Yeah.
And it must have been a big game for you guys playing against the Packers that had come off of 4 or 5 straight, actually 4 in the last 5 years, NFL champions, and for you guys to represent the AFL against such a top team. And you guys had them almost even for the first half.
Yeah, we thought we could beat them, and I think a lot of the guys kind of got scared. In fact, I was with Bill Curry earlier this week, and he told a lot of people, he said actually Kansas City had more talent than we did. He said we just had played in more championships and we were more ready for the game than Kansas City. But it was, it was just an honor to be able to take part of that game.
Speaking of talent, the AFL was really on the vanguard of bringing a lot of guys like yourself who played for HBCUs. How important was that for the growth of the AFL?
Well, that was big because Hank Stram went down into the HBCU and got most of his players. In fact, on the first team that we went to the Super Bowl, there was Buck Buchanan, Ernie Ladd, myself, a guy named Rice played defensive tackle, Otis Taylor, Frank Pitts, Gloucester Richardson. We all from Frank Pitts. All of us were from black colleges, small black colleges. And so nobody was looking at us but the AFC. So we just, we wanted to win that game. But, it was such an honor, and it was a great game. So I'm just thrilled that I was able to play in it.
Well, I tell you, I know it's great to be a part of history here.
Yeah, that was a phenomenal interview. We had a chance to, again, talk with Saul Brandon. And as you can see, man, it was just cool for me because that was basically living history. Here's a guy that played, in the 60s and actually was able to be a part of what we now know, as he mentioned today, one of the biggest sporting events in the world. But at that time, they didn't even call it the Super Bowl. It was literally called the AFL versus the NFL. And that was it. And the Green Bay Packers, actually, they talked about this with Coach Vince Lombardi before he passed. He said he was more nervous for that game than probably any other game that he played because of what was on the line. If the NFL had lost the very first Super Bowl to the AFL, it would immediately discredit the NFL as being, quote-unquote, the superior league. And who knows, we might be looking at a whole different situation as far as the way the NFL is laid out. And, of course, it did eventually be forced to merge when Joe Namath, of course, upset the Baltimore Colts in Super Bowl III. So good stuff there. I wanted to let you guys get a little peek at history. That was, again, a little snippet from the retired players here based in Atlanta. Their big Super Bowl party. It's a big fundraiser for them. Basically, if you want VIP access, it costs about $100, but they gave you unlimited food and beverages, and it was, again, held at the main event in Alpharetta, and all of that goes back to their scholarship fund. They usually try to give out a total of at least $5,000 worth of scholarships each year, and this year they're trying to actually get that number to $10,000. So, again, that's the NFL Alumni Georgia. If you want to find out more about them, you can check them out on social media, NFL Alumni GA. You also can check them out on Facebook. They have a Facebook page as well, and same thing with the NFL Players Association. And we thank the Spiritual Soldier for sharing the broadcast on with her followers. Again, you can check us out on Periscope. You can go to my Twitter page at TalkSportsATL, and you will find out, you can just click right on the broadcast and check us out right there. Well, here's the thing, guys. The Super Bowl is really a phenomenal thing. It's like you said, it's grown to this ginormous event. And yesterday was no different, Super Bowl 50, and we actually were able to look at a guy that played his high school football right down the road here in Atlanta.
Yeah,
right,
Cam Newton. I don't know which Cam Newton showed up at Super Bowl, but it wasn't the regular Cam Newton throughout the season.
Throwing some shade on Cam Newton.
Right. Look, you threw some shade. I'm going to set a little sunlight. Cam, the city was very happy for you because you grew up here, and to see you on that big stage, it was phenomenal. And that's on behalf of the city. But I'm with Reggie, though. This is Ashton speaking now. I don't know what Cam that was.
Yeah, I mean, really, at the end of the day, the question we're going to ask when we after the break here in just a few minutes, here's a big question. Number one, when you look at that game, was it a situation where Cam Newton and the Panthers kind of choked up a little bit, or was just the Denver D was just that good? Is Denver D the best D that you've ever seen? And really now, and this is a sad thing, unfortunately, now more of the buzz after the game really has to do with Cam Newton's press conference more so than the game itself. And we're going to let you guys listen to that when we come back from the break. But I want you guys to check out his press conference. The other thing, too, is I'm also going to pull up some remarks that Peyton Manning said when they asked him about what he felt about Cam's remarks. So it's very, very interesting just kind of listening to this dynamic going back and forth. But, yeah, everything is just red hot on Sports Talk everywhere. Cam Newton, how he handled himself in that press conference, how he looked. Matter of fact, if you want to see how he looked, you can go on to the NFL.com page, or actually you can go to their Twitter feed at NFL, and you'll see how Cam looked. We got on Periscope Miss Spiritual Soldier saying Cam played terrible. And that's what Cam said himself. But I'm going to let you hear Cam's remarks, but you're not going to hear them unless you keep it locked right here on more of the Real Talk Sports Show.
We call on the name of Jesus Christ. Son Edward in your ear on WIGO AM 1570, Atlanta's incredible radio. Son plays anointed gospel music and interviews the biggest gospel artists in the country. Son Edward in your ear discusses local and national news from a godly perspective. Son Edward in your ear. Tune in every Sunday at 9 a.m. on WIGO AM 1570, Atlanta's incredible radio. Son Edward in your ear.
Let's get ready to rumble with 100 yards of football, the hottest sports talk radio show, live from the ATL every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. with Vincent Turner and his impeccable sports talk crew. That's right. Join your host, Vincent Turner, and his impeccable sports talk crew every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. for hot sports topics and more right here on Atlanta's incredible radio, WIGO 1570 AM.
Lawrence Taylor, New York Giants, and you with Real Talk Sports.
And we are back. You're listening to the Real Talk Sports Show, and that's a little bit of the old theme music from NFL films, and what that reminds you of the old Western movies.
Oh, yes. And
unfortunately for Cam Newton, the sheriff didn't do anything, but his posse, that Denver D, shut down the Panthers, and that was the sound of Denver's pass rush running roughshod over the Panthers' offensive line all day long. Well, guys, I mean, we talked about a little bit off air. Cam Newton didn't look like himself yesterday. Again, was it a case of, nerves, jitters, or just the Denver D just knew what to do with dynamic schemes from, from the assistant coach over there, the defensive coordinator that put it together?
I honestly think that Denver, their defense knew how to control Cam Newton. They watched the film. They had Brock Osweiler try to imitate him, but he couldn't really do it at a full point. If you have DeMarcus Ware and Von Miller rushing both sides, collapse the pocket, then they're blitzing 6-7 people every time. People complain how Cam could have scrambled. Cam had nowhere to go. His receivers were locked down. After Brown got hurt, he was trying to hit Ted Ginn for a long time. He got him a couple plays, but Greg Olsen had a real quiet night. I mean, he made a couple plays here and there, but Denver had some great defense. They knew how to control Cam Newton.
Right, and one thing that really shook Cam up was the fact that out of this whole year, the Super Bowl was the most that he has ever gotten hit. And I remember this one play where Cam, he did scramble. I think he got the first down, but he met Von Miller on the sideline. He tried to give him a little move, but Von Miller, he caught him. He did not bite on the fake. He caught him, and he slammed Cam out of bounds. So they were definitely pressuring him. They were hitting him, and I could even tell that Cam's demeanor was even changing, because it was even one point where he was calling plays and he took a kneel and the lineman had to help him up. He was wincing in pain. They already saw that it got into his head. And like I always say, those intangibles that you have to go in that game knowing that you're the MVP. The target is on you. The world is wanting to see what you're going to do, because everybody's riding you now since you're the new face of the NFL, which means that they're searching for the good and the bad. They want to see how you're going to react when the pressure comes. They want to see how you're going to react if you lose, if you win, the whole nine. And Cam said it himself. He said, if you want me to stop doing what I'm doing, the dabbing and all of that, shut me up by stopping me. And that's exactly what Denver's defense did. They stopped him.
Well, it's funny, there was a question on Periscope that came out. The question was, did Cam, was his heart fully in it, or did he just give up? Because the other question was later on in that second half, matter of fact, at the end of the game, a critical fumble that Cam had, and when the replay showed it, Cam looked like he made little no effort. Look, he tried to kick the football, but everybody questioned how come he didn't dive in there and try to make that play and at least, force themselves to punt and, allow their defense to make a play. But looked like Cam was a little disinterested. And, of course, now when you see that kind of play, people start thinking, was there a little fixation in the game?
At that point, I think around the mid-second quarter, Carolina was making a stride down the field. It was 10-16. They had a chance to tie it up or start beating the Broncos, but they had too many turnovers, too many critical mistakes. And you saw Corey Brown in the game with the concussion in the second quarter. I think that he was a real pinnacle of that drive down the field. And some people say Aqib Talib had a lot of penalties and they should have called more, but Cam Newton, he got hit so many times by Von Miller, DeMarcus Ware. He probably was out of his comfort zone. He couldn't rush like he wanted to.
Right.
If he did, he knew he was going to get hit.
Right.
He probably realized, hey, I'm getting hit too much. I'm just not going to care anymore.
Right. And one thing about it, though, is when he made plays, the other teammates, they would drop the ball, especially Jericho Cotchery. I guess he had butterfingers or something. I don't know what was going on, but he was dropping some key passes. The ones that was actually keeping them in the game, making some plays, was number 17 and number 10. And number 10 even dropped the ball a great deal. And Tolbert fumbled. I never seen him do that the entire year. I was like, wow, there's a lot of stuff going on that the Panthers never shown. But they have some bright spots, especially with Luke Kuechly. Luke Kuechly was definitely trying to provide a spark, and he was doing a great job the entire game. But when you get on offense and their defense can just stop you from scoring, from moving the ball, there's nothing you can do.
Well, there's no question that there was I really thought throughout the game, when I looked at, first of all, you had a couple of things that Denver did that was imperative for winning that game. The big thing about Carolina was, in this magnificent run, especially through the playoffs, was they always had the ability to jump on you quickly and get you behind. And see, Carolina is a completely different team when they're playing from ahead, because now you can unleash that running attack, because you now have to say we can't afford to fall down by 2 or 3 touchdowns, so we have to kind of play honestly. We can't just bum rush Cam, because if he hits with a big play, now we're down 17-0. So all of a sudden, Carolina mentally found themselves in a position they had not been in all season, down early in the game 10-0. And not only down 10-0, but giving up a touchdown in a way they normally score on a takeaway. And you could see that immediately rattled Cam, the fact that he gave that ball up. The other thing is Cam seemed like he had no pocket presence at all. It seemed like he had no clue when Denver was about to hit him, because if you look at most of the hits, he was almost like he was standing like a statue, especially on that fumble. He didn't even move. If you watch the replay on that fumble, it's like he didn't know Von Miller was coming.
Right. Didn't even look his direction.
At all.
So that goes to show that Cam still has some growth to do, although he's made some great strides, and he definitely was deserving of the MVP award. But at the same time, he hasn't faced a Von Miller or DeMarcus Ware. When you have 2 pass rushers on both sides coming at you in full effect like that, and then that will shake you up as a quarterback, because you don't know when they're coming or not. So he still has some work to do. And then you got to give credit to their secondary. I mean, sure, Aqib Talib, he was playing a little dirty. He's had some major calls. But then again, what John Madden always said was, you get your hands on that football, you catch that football. And their receivers wasn't catching it, and the hits took a toll on Cam, because as you get hit more and more throughout the game, it does affect your throwing. But still, that's no excuse for when those plays were there. See, to beat Denver, you have to capitalize on the opportunities that are given. When they're able to contain Von Miller and able to contain DeMarcus Ware just long enough for you to make a play or make a throw, you have to capitalize on those moments. Otherwise, you will not win the game.
Well, there's no question. You saw a lot of bad play. That's really what Cam talked about after the game. He talked about, hey, man, basically we just did not play well. They outplayed us. We had opportunities, and we just didn't take care of them. Speaking of Cam, we're going to see if I can get you here the interview that has had everybody buzzing here, his remarks after the game. Let's go to this right now. This is Cam Newton at the press conference. And keep in mind, the guy is coming to the press conference of Super Bowl 50 with a Panthers hooded sweatshirt and NFL MVP. So here we go. Cam Newton's comments.
He's played, and he just was tremendous tonight, and got those 2 turnovers, and so I'm really happy for Von. Glad he's on our team.
The defense certainly led the way, and Peyton Manning was very clear in saying the defense does very much lead this team. What do you think Peyton's future holds?
You know what? I think he's going to enjoy this tonight. I think he's going to do it. You know, I think that obviously, he's going to sit down and figure out what he wants to do. It's always hard to walk from this game that you love, but he's got the time. I'm sure he'll take the time. So, that's going to be up to him, and he'll talk, and we'll go there. They put in for this game.
Nothing different.
Do we sometimes, I know football players don't forget, but do we sometimes forget the defense is still a big part.
Evan Mathis at podium 14.
No.
You guys after the game.
So it's a lot of
anything particular that's memorable? Obviously, you're disappointed. You've won tremendous games before, and I know you've had some tough losses too. I mean, this is on the biggest stage. It's difficult, I know.
You played the words of disappointment.
Did you see anything that you didn't expect today?
They just played better than us. I don't know what you want me to say. It's like they made better more plays than us, and that's what it come down to. I mean, we had our opportunities. It wasn't nothing special that they did. We dropped balls, we turned the ball over, gave up sacks, errant passes. That's it. They scored more points than us.
Can you put into words the disappointment you feel right now?
Lost.
Cam, on that fumble, was there, when you were looking at the ball, was there a thought that you were trying to pick it up and extend the play, or is that why you didn't hit the dead for it?
Any ball changes defensively to take away running plays?
No.
I know you're disappointed not just for yourself and your teammates, because you guys talked about how you are band of brothers coming in. It's got to be real tough for everybody on offense.
Force out to throw the ball. So you throw the football. That was the game plan. Throw the box, one-on-one chance outside. They got a couple big plays.
Wait, Cam. Wait. Cam, wait. Cam, wait. Cam. Cam, I'm still talking. How can you leave us like this, Cam? It's unbelievable. I think the press corps really wanted to just say this to Cam as he left.
Hello, it's me. I was wondering if after all these years you like
Cam
to go over everything.
Just one more question, Cam.
They say that time's supposed to heal ya, but I ain't done much healing. Hello,
Cam, please, one more question.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear us, Cam?
I'm in
Don't leave us like this. It's a Super Bowl 50, Cam.
We used to be when we were younger.
Remember, Cam, you were the MVP. You're the face of the league.
I've forgotten how it felt before.
I've forgotten everything that you've done now.
Such a difference
because the Super Bowl failed us, Cam. But wait, don't leave. Cam, I'm calling you.
Hello from the other side.
We gotta do our job, brother. We're the press. I'm sorry. All those things that Denver did, the sacks, the hard tackles. Well, that was my interpretation of the press conference of Cam Newton and the worldwide press as Cam stormed out short of the 3-minute mark. The way it's set up, just for those people who don't know, the NFL requires after the game that you stay on that press dais for 3 minutes for all the questions to be answered. But Cam evidently was not feeling it, and so I just wanted to kind of throw something out for the press because I could see the pain on their faces when Cam went out and they couldn't ask a question. And it seemed like they were just saying, hello, Cam. So we hope you enjoyed that there. You listen to the Real Talk Sports Show as we broadcast right here on Atlanta's Incredible Radio, WIGR. I'm your host, Minister Jonathan Simmons. After two young guns here, Reggie Brown in the building.
Yes, sir.
And Ashton Reynolds in the building as well.
Oh, yes.
Well, gentlemen, listening to that situation there, obviously you could tell that Cam, all his remarks were no. We got beat by the better team, and like I said, basically got up and walked out. Do you think that that's something that, I mean, are you guys okay with that? Do you think that he should have handled it differently? Since he's closer to your age, 25 years old, Ashton, first you play ball, you've had some tough losses. What do you think about Cam and how he handled that whole situation?
The way that he handled the press conference, that he could have handled it in a better manner, because I understand there is a winner and a loser within that. And I know he's an emotional player, but at the same time, he has to accept the fact that he is the face of that league. He's now the MVP of the league. He is the face of the Carolina Panthers. So the wins and losses and all of that is going to fall back on him. He has to be prepared for that. Nobody's going to take the blame for it other than him. And that's not even to add on to the constant hate that he's already receiving as a result of being who he is. See, the thing about his outspoken nature, it's pros and cons. It's like a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because it can lift the team's morale, yet it's a curse when somebody makes him eat his words, which is what Denver did. This whole year, he has talked a lot of smack. This whole year, he has showed a lot of confidence that even he hasn't even shown in college. He hasn't shown in his first few years because he was in a zone. And now when the adversity came, they was looking for Cam to be who he is, which is Superman. They already labeled him as Superman when he first came in, due to the physical nature, due to all of that. But Denver, they must have been kryptonite yesterday, because Superman didn't look so super. He just looked like a man.
Well, here's what the sheriff said as he called Peyton Manning, the sheriff. Peyton Manning said this. He said, listen, he said, as far as what Cam, his interaction, and you can actually see the clip of Cam talking and smiling, he said he couldn't have been nicer to me. He was extremely humble. These are quotes. He'll be back in the game, I can promise you, Manning added. I've been on that side of it. It's tough. It's not an easy pill to swallow, but he was very nice to me, and I really appreciated that. So that's a comment from a guy who's been through it and was on the field. Well, listen, we still got more of the Real Talk Sports Show. We're going to continue to chop it up here. We're talking Super Bowl 50, Cam Newton's comments, and we have more, but you won't hear it unless you keep it locked right here. Hello, this is Minister Jonathan Simmons. Everybody needs to be encouraged and inspired, and that's why I'm inviting you to join me on the Clarion Call broadcast every Wednesday, 9:30 a.m. here on Atlanta's Incredible Radio, WIGO 1570. The show brings you inspiration from the Word of God and information from great guests to help you make it through the week. It's the Clarion Call Show, Wednesdays, 9:30 a.m. here on WIGO. You can also listen on your mobile device with the free TuneIn Radio application. Remember to check us out online at www.clarioncallshow.com.
Guess who's coming to WIGO AM 1570 on Tuesdays? It's Ask Dr. RJ. Is your child acting out in school? Ask Dr. RJ. Are you feeling too much stress on your job? Ask Dr. RJ. It's okay to talk to your friends or even your mom, but you still need that clinical piece. So ask Dr. RJ. Tuesdays at 8 p.m. on WIGO AM 1570.
It's official. The hottest new restaurant and sports grill on the South Side is open for business. Check out the Burger Theory Restaurant, 638 Highway 138, Stockbridge, Georgia, inside the Holiday Inn and Suites. All new. It's got great appetizers, delicious desserts, and mouth-watering signature burgers made for your order. Grab some takeout on the way home or enjoy the beautiful lounge and dining area lined with flat-screen TVs. It's the Burger Theory Restaurant, 638 Highway 138, inside the Holiday Inn, Stockbridge, Georgia.
Ladies and gentlemen, wow. Y'all looking good. God looks good. It's not your hair.
It's not your hair. It's not your clothes. God looks good on you. That's Kenton Jones with really dealing with a great song talking about it's what's on the inside, not on the outside, that makes the man or the woman. Listen to the final segment of the Real Talk Sports Show here as we broadcast on Atlanta's Incredible Radio, WIGO 1570. You also can check us out online at WIGOAM.com and also on 1100entertainmentradio.com. Use the TuneIn Radio application for mobile devices. Put in WIGO 1570, or better yet, put in Real Talk Sports, and voila, you will find us broadcasting to you right here and right now. Well, we're going to wrap this up here with a little Hawks talk, and then we're going to look at our community segment. I'm going to try to find some clips here. I went to check out the East Atlanta Saints. They have a youth sports group that they have. They have cheerleaders, they have football, so I'm going to try to see if I can grab a little bit of that. But before we do that, the Hawks looks like they were on a roll, have won 3 straight, went to an Orlando team that was very beatable, but another buzzer beater sends the Hawks home with a loss. I mean, what are we going to do with this team?
The Hawks are playing good basketball, but they're just not at an elite team right now. They're ranked number 4 in the East. They're going to the playoffs. That's a definite.
Right.
We'll probably see a different tone of the Hawks coming after the All-Star break. Everybody's going to be relaxed. It's time to have fun. I think they'll play even better if they just kill the trade rumors. We all know we want a trade to happen, but realistically, I don't think the Hawks have enough people coming off the bench strong enough each night for them to get rid of one of their big 3 and try to have somebody else come in like a
Boogie Cousins, any of those guys, right? Yep. Mm-hmm.
And have him try to fit him into the game plan, but they already got a set game plan. They already got a set team. I just don't think it'll be a good fit anymore.
I agree with you on that. You know, the trade rumors, people they need to cease that so they can stop playing on eggshells and things like that. But that goes to show, it's kind of like the story of Atlanta, really. The teams that you're supposed to beat, the teams that people have you beating, they don't get it done. That's something that you can't make an excuse for that. You have to beat the teams that you're supposed to beat so you can go ahead and solidify yourself, because you're going to have more games that you're supposed to win than games that you aren't expected to win. You're going to get to them. If you're trying to get in a position, fight for positioning within the playoffs, those games matter. The Orlandos, although I think they're the team on the rise, but the Sacramentos,
right.
You know, you have to win those games in order to solidify yourself to get home court advantage, which is something that they would need, that I feel like they would need. So there's no excuse for that loss.
Yeah, look at them, and really it's the same old. The inability to defend the outside shooting now this year has been a problem for the Hawks. The other thing is, I've been saying this really, even in the old regime, the Hawks, the way they are configured, and they have been configured over the last 5 or 6 years or more, is that they have a plethora of wing players. So why not force the tempo? Tempo. To me, I've been saying this all along, I would play the same way that the great Nolan Richardson played when he had the Arkansas teams in the 80s and 90s. He said, buddy, when you play us, you're getting 40 minutes of you know what, because they pressed you 90 feet for 40 minutes. And to me, the Hawks are one of the few teams that actually, because of they have no real superstar, they actually can play you 9 deep. And to me, what I would do, man, I would press and run. I would play a lot more with having both Schroeder and Jeff on the team at the same time. Now, I know sometimes that creates a problem because these guys can be a little erratic. But at the end of the day, that's what the Hawks need. They need more fast break opportunity. They need more up-tempo and utilizing the speed they have, bringing Bazemore off the wing, bringing Mike Scott off the wing, because you're not going to be able to play teams in this man-up, strong-arm type of way in the East Division. It's not going to happen.
Right, because once they start beating you up down low, you know, the big guys within the league like Andre Drummond, the Greg Monroes, when you try to play half-court basketball with those guys down low, it's going to tire you out, leave them fatigued, so they won't be able to run and play that run-and-gun offensive style like you just explained, Minister Simmons. So maybe that change right there, you know, that will open up the floor for Tim Hardaway Jr. because that man there in the open floor is
starting
a
the ball
monster.
now, baby. He's starting the ball. He's starting to really come through. And this is what we've been talking about for months on the show. Where's Tim Hardaway? Where's Tim Hardaway? Now, of course, Coach Bud explained it finally. He said, well, he really had been injured and wasn't in quote-unquote game shape, whatever that is. Okay, so I'm not quite sure, but at the end of the day, it's real simple to me. You need to rest Kyle Korver more because Kyle Korver at 34, he's a jump shooter.
Right.
From distance, he needs his legs, and your legs are not the same at 34 or 24. Let Hardaway alternate with him more so you can bring Kyle Korver in almost like a sharpshooter. Well, listen, we're going to go to our community segment. I'm going to try to see if I can get a little clip here on my computer of an interview I did with a couple of the kids at the East Atlanta Saints. And so let's see if I can play one of these interviews here. These kids were so cute. Talked about them playing football, and some of them were cheerleaders, and they all won awards. I was just impressed with how bright these young people were. Let's see if I can get them here on the line. Here we go.
Hey, buddy, we're still here at the East Atlanta very first annual Youth Awards here. And this young man has won an award tonight. He's going to introduce himself to you right now.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sean Tillman II.
And how does it feel to win? You won a couple of awards tonight, didn't you?
Yes.
Did it make you excited?
Yes.
Now, who's that guy standing right behind us?
This is my dad.
All right. You think he's proud of you tonight?
Yes.
All All right, let's get him in the picture. Dad, what do you think? Your son did an outstanding job this year.
Oh, he definitely did for his first time this year. I'm definitely proud of him and excited for what he's going to be going into now. He seemed very excited. That was my whole goal for this year, is to have him have fun and be in the organized sports. And he did an excellent job this year.
What position did you play?
Left guard.
Did you like blocking for the running backs and the quarterback?
Yes.
Well, it's all about the team game. And
as time comes, we're going to have that up on our page as well, on our RealTalkSports.net, and you'll have those interviews that are there. So great things going on. East Atlanta Saints, you can find out more about them. They're on Facebook at East Atlanta Saints, and also East ATL Saints on Twitter and Instagram. Real quick, we got to close out here, brother. Tell us a little bit about Blessed Coast before we get off the air.
Blessed Coast, what we do is use all forms of entertainment to push out not only the word of God, but a lot more positivity, just to try to negate all of the negativity that's going on within the world right now. You can follow me and on all social media sites by going to the website, www.blessedcoast.com, and I spell it BLESSEDKOAST.
All right, final remarks, Reggie Brown.
Hey, congratulations to Peyton Manning and Denver Broncos. Good job, Cam. You played a heck of a season straight out of Atlanta, and ready for Talk Some More Sports next week.
Shout out to Luke Kuechly.
There we go. Well, listen, I wanted to say God bless everybody. You know how I like to end it. If you don't know Jesus Christ, your personal Savior, I always remind you, please, man, please, sir, you do. That's your one way to get into heaven. And plus, nobody loves you like Jesus, not your mama, not your grandmom, not even auntie and them. Well, one of the reasons why I always play this song is because I'm grateful to God to be here, to be alive, and to be with you. Thanks to our producer, Miss Erica, and everybody at WIGO. God bless you, and good night.
I'm straight, I got faith. Oh, I can't complain no more. I've been blessed, I'm thankful. No stress, I'm able to dress, so fresh, let's go. It's on tonight, my money right, big city lights, yes I'm alright. I'm rolling slow, we fall deep and we sitting low. Do you wanna go? I'm gonna be going for sure.